It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation,
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I remember vividly I was talking to a friend of mine and telling them what happened to me, and it became like a joke because they laughed. And I was like, from now I'm never going to tell anybody what happened to me.
I just felt like this was all my fault. I had agreed to date him, and who was I going to tell? Who was going to believe that something like this had actually happened to me? Who was going to believe I was sexually assaulted? Because people would just say, but you were not raped, so you are fine. But I wasn't.
He damaged my life. He damaged me physically, but I survived. It felt like this whole sexual assault just ruined my whole life.
My name is Boyiswa Angelina Nsadu. I'm 46 years old. I'm a mother of 4. I'm an HIV counselor, and I'm also a rape survivor.
My name is Fumana Nhlonhlo. I'm 37 years old. I'm a rape survivor. I'm also a maternist.
I'm 49 years old. I am a rape survivor.
My name is Chipo Wacha. I am 23, and I'm a rape survivor.
My story goes like this. I was raped by a stepbrother when I was 6 years old. I wasn't living in Cape Town then. I was living on a farm in Swellendam. I was sick on that day with chicken pox, so I couldn't go to school. Then my mother is a domestic worker, and she couldn't look after me because she had to go to work, and she asked him to look after me. And so basically that's when my whole life as a child basically changed. Since he was looking after me, I didn't know that he had intention to hurt me. So that's when he raped me. He threatened me by telling me that if I tell my mother, he will kill my mom, and his father won't believe me because I'm a child. So I had to make a decision as the 6-year-old that this is a secret that I'm going to keep because the only person that I know that is my mother, and he is not my family, his father is not my family. I kept that secret, and it was hard to keep it, but there's no way. I had to survive. And then in those days, as a child, I didn't even thought about it, that it was actually rape, but I knew that somebody hurt me. Then years gone by with that secret, and then we came and lived in Cape Town. And in Cape Town, then I was raped again at knife point. And I was on my way visiting my mom. She was working in Tafelsig. So I used to walk from Khayelitsha to Tafelsig, and I would normally take a shortcut like through a bush, and as we're walking, not knowing that there was somebody watching me while I was walking. While I was in the middle of the bush, I just felt like somebody from the back holding a knife against my neck and saying I mustn't scream. All I have to do is to lie down and take down my panty, and that's all I did, because all I was thinking in my mind is I don't want this person to hurt me. But he actually did, because that's when I was raped. I had to lay down and he penetrated me. And then after that, and then he left. But at that time, I didn't thought of going home. I continued my journey, go to see my mom, and not even telling her what happened to me on my way there. All I wanted to do, I went to the loo and I locked the door, and I took toilet paper, and all I was doing, I was like wiping myself. And I tried to not have this reaction on my face that something happened to me on my way here. Then I left and I walked the same route on my way home. And then I got home, I just thought about what happened to me. And I remember vividly I was talking to friends of mine and telling them what happened to me, and it became like a joke because they laughed. And I was like, from now I'm never going to tell anybody what happened to me. Then that I also put in the back of my mind and say, you know what, there's a new day, I have to look forward to what happened. And a couple of years later, I had another ordeal, which was like my third ordeal, where I was like gang raped, and it was by two people that I know. The people that did it to me at that time, the one was an ex-boyfriend, which I broke up with him because he was a gangster. And the other person was my boyfriend at that time. But I didn't know that there was actually a plan that he needs to get me, since he normally visits me at night and we talked. So I didn't know there was a plan that he had to get me and take me to his place where my ex-boyfriend would be. So that happened, and that rape ordeal happened like the whole night. And all I had in my mind was, please God, let them finish. All I wanted to go home. I was told not to scream because also that would be the impact of when in a community, the first question would be, what are you doing here as a young girl at night all by yourself? And after the whole deal happened, until the next morning, I just woke up and get dressed, and my boyfriend at that time, he was like accompanying me like to on my way home, and he was like apologizing, and he didn't want to tell me what was actually happening. And I was like, I don't want to talk to you, all I want to do is to get home. When I got home, that was like another piece of me, another secret that like it's mine. I'm not gonna tell anyone. And I grew up with all of that in me. And I had all these things happen to me. But at that point, I didn't like put it all together, like my first ordeal and my second ordeal, and put it together to say, why is all this happening to me? I remember there was a case at my house where my brother was actually arrested for raping an adopted sister. And I think that's where my flashbacks were like kind of coming, because I was attending the court cases because my mom couldn't go. And I was the one attending, and I was like in my 30s at that time. And I'm also a mother. I can't talk to my mom because my mother wouldn't understand, because she believes that her own son won't rape anyone. And I constantly have to go to court. That was like the hardest part, where I have to go to court and listen to a court case that has anything to do with a rape. And here I am, this person who's dealing with family problems, and I'm the youngest. I have to deal with my problem. I have to deal with my brother's problem. I have to deal with a stepsister's problem. All of that is all in my hands. Then when I realized that I had flashbacks, then Rape Crisis came to where I was working, because they came to do a training session. Then there's one session that I did was like, can you remember a story that happened to you? You can make it up, or it could be a true one. And I was in this one group, and there was like a one male in my group. And I just started going like, when I was 6, my stepbrother slept with me, and somebody slept with me at knife point. So I was like going into details, and my colleague were looking at me, and he was like, did you actually know what you just described, that you were raped? And hours because I was telling my story with this huge smile and I'm like happy, I'm telling a story, but I didn't know that I'm actually now, well, this was actually my time where I was like telling people exactly what was happening to me. And that's when I actually realized that now I had a voice, and my voice and all the pain, this is what I'm telling. Then my employer at that time, that's when they organized a counseling session with the rape crisis where I went and for my sessions. I never had anyone to talk to. Since I was keeping all this pain, the hurt, I couldn't talk to my mother because by the time I went to rape crisis, going through my counseling, that was a time when there was like my brother's case going on, and my mother didn't believe that my brother would rape my stepsister. And yeah, I come in and say, do you remember so and so that he hurt me? Was like, it's not gonna help me right now because my mom at that time, she was like in the 60s. And the only time where I felt like I got support was where I worked. That was like, for me, I had kind of have to build myself like a support system because I could feel myself like right now I'm falling apart. I am this mother of 4 girls and I need to be strong, but now this mother of 4 girls are now completely like falling apart. It wasn't good. It was painful because in a session you went more into details, what happened, how it felt, and all of that. And I didn't have support because at that point I had to deal with, before I deal with it, these two ordeals, I had to deal with my first ordeal as a child because this little 6-year-old was raped. And that 6-year-old need to be healed before I even healed like the 10-year-old and the next story, because you first need to heal that child before you heal the rest of your life. And that actually helped me. And that's why today I can proudly say that I'm a survivor. Then I was a victim. 3 times I was a victim, but I'm not a victim anymore. My dream is to help all the young people out there to speak out and to let them know that they are not alone, and to seek help where help is needed, and to know that it's not your fault whatever happened to you. Yeah, and to inspire my kids to whatever happened to them to speak about it. I was like, from now I'm never gonna tell anybody what happened to me.
I just felt like this was all my fault. I had agreed to date him, and who was I going to tell? Who was going to believe that something like this had actually happened to me? Who was going to believe I was sexually assaulted? Because people would just say, but you were not raped, so you are fine. But I wasn't.
He damaged my life. He damaged me physically, but I survived.
It felt like this whole sexual assault just ruined my whole life.
My name is Boyiswa Angelina Nsadu. I'm 46 years old. I'm a mother of 4. I'm an HIV counselor and I'm also a rape survivor.
My name is Fumana Ntlondlo. I'm 37 years old. I'm a rape survivor. I'm also a matronist.
I'm 49 years old. I am a rape survivor.
My name is Chipo Wacha. I'm 23 and I'm a rape survivor.
My story goes like this. I was raped by a stepbrother when I was 6 years old. I wasn't living in Cape Town then. I was living on a farm in Swellendam. I was sick on that day with chicken pox, so I couldn't go to school. Then my mother is a domestic worker and she couldn't look after me because she had to go to work, and she asked him to look after me. And so basically that's when my whole life as a child basically changed. Since he was looking after me, I didn't know that he had intention to hurt me. So
It was a gun. I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation,
The problem with the Somalians,
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Don't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I remember vividly I was talking to friends of mine and telling them what happened to me, and it became like a joke because they laughed and they